What do we have here? Can you tell? Some people can tell. If you're a fan of this brand, you can probably tell the super generic brown cardboard with the little thin kind of wrapper says Twosun all day long. That's what that is. It's a Twosun. All right, so this is literally the unboxing. I haven't taken it out before. Haven't even looked at it. I mean, I looked at it online. Okay, it's in a cute little bag. Okay, a little oily. Okay, super duper oily. Sometimes Twosuns come super duper oily, but just look at how nice this looks. I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for it yet. It was super duper cheap. You're able to. So there was a time when Twosuns were super duper cheap. You could get them like super cheap. And then the prices started going up and up and up. And then they kind of got a little bit closer to kind of what you'd call your second tier of Chinese quality knives. And they kind of got to where there wasn't a super deal to get a Twosun anymore. But I don't know if they're pumping out a lot more or if people are kind of bought out. They've bought all the Twosuns they need. But I feel like the prices are starting to go back down a little bit, back down to kind of that, wow, this is kind of a deal type price, you know? So I'm going to get a little cloth here, wipe off the enormous amount of oil that's all over this thing. Look at that carbon fiber. That just looks really nice. I mean, it's just flat carbon fiber, but it has a nice sparkle to it. Have a nice little bit of a depth to it. Look at that milling. Boy, that reminds me of the Quiet Carry 9's milling a little bit. This is a bit bigger than the 9. Kind of a bit of a chunk, actually. A little heavier and bigger than I thought it was going to be. That's what she said. All right, let's pop this blade. Nice flipper tab kind of set down in there. I think I'm going to need this again. Probably want to pop the blade. Okay, a little slower than I was hoping for. Whoa, look how much oil. That's crazy. Got a lot of spooge on it. All right. So that flip out was a little anemic. Let's not call it anemic yet. Let's get the feel for it. Okay, let's see. How's the lock access? Not bad. The drop is kind of a, you know, not drop shutty, but shake shutty. But you know what? There's no double clutch. I was expecting a bit of a double clutch, but the clutch is right there. Sorry, the detent hits the blade right there. Once it's past that, you're good to go. So, you know what? I'm hoping it gets a little more drop shutty. It just feels like the kind of knife that should be drop shutty. Okay, lock access is pretty good. Pretty natural. It's a tiny bit sharp. They don't have much of a, hardly any, well, okay, none. They don't have zero chamfer on it, but it sticks up above the other side so that you can access it pretty good. So it's a little sharp, but it's hard to miss it. It's very accessible. Okay, if you don't get it past that double clutch spot, it will pop back closed. So if you go like that, and then try to open it, it'll go closed. Sorry, got that backwards. Strike that, reverse it. If you open it, then you try to close it, and it hits that point, and you try to drop it down, it's going to go back up into open lock. But if you get past that point, like there, you're good to go. Boy, is it, boy, it's almost a front. Why did they not make it a front flipper? Dum-dums. I mean, that's obviously, look at that. That's obviously such a good front flipper if you just made that corner not there. Dum-dums. Wow. So it's a flipper only. But oil keeps coming back on it. So it's flipper tab only, I think. I could probably put one of those ATA studs on there. That might be nice. And I think it will pop just nice since it doesn't have a lot of strong detent. It really doesn't. I'm going to try to see if it will flop out just by shaking it, because the detent feels pretty weak. I'm not sure. Which is weird because it's not drop shutty at all. You'd think if the lock bar was pressing in enough to make it not drop shutty, to where it's slowing down the drop, then it would also have enough back pressure to make it flip out pretty hard. You know what? It's not bad. It's really not. It's a pretty nice opening, really. It's a little slow, but it's not too slow. It's not crazy. I don't know, I kind of like it. It's got a good sound to it, too. Some Twosuns have this kind of zipper sound when they open. Listen to this. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Maybe I could slow it down. I'll do one and then slow it down. I wonder if I could do it in slow motion. Yeah, let's try it in slow motion. So how'd that sound? Was it cool? Did that have a cool sound? I can't tell, so we'll see. Other than the sound, the ergos are terrific on this thing. I think that's in part because we have these kind of wide chamfered areas here, and then a chamfered again at like a 45 right there. So they really paid attention to the detail on the handle. This kind of choke up position here. Well, it's not really choke up, is it? That's just your regular position. Thumb choke up position? I don't know. Whatever you call that position there, it's really comfy. And that jimping is for real and does not let your thumb slip at all. The blade shape is really interesting. How it's like almost a tanto here. Not quite. It's like a Persian tanto with a swedge thing. Pocket clip feels good. Not too super strong. Let's try it in the pocket. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Boy, I love that zipper sound. Kind of neat. Did we say who it was? Is it? I'm not sure. Dang it, I don't know the Twosun logos, maker logos very well. Is it Mazwan Mokhtar maybe? I do not remember. I'll put it up here, and we'll see who made it. It's in D2, so not the baddest ass of blade steels, but this thing was so cheap. I think I got it for, it was between 40 and 50 bucks. What is that? For this, for a beautiful knife like this? I think I paid 45, maybe? I mean, you got to catch a deal. Maybe it depends, you know, on if you're just staying on top of it and looking for deals, because I'm sure I did, because I'm a cheap ass. So, well, look at that centering. This feels really, really well made. Look how the backspacer ties in so well with each side. That's really, really nice, man. It's a good size knife, too. I want to say it's a little over 3.5. I want to say 3.6, 3.7, something like that. Let's see. I think this Aryan is 3.6 or 7. Yeah, it's right there. So 3.6, 3.7, something like that. Is it bigger than a Chris Reeve Mazwan? Right, I'm going to say it's a hair longer, just a millimeter or two longer than the Mazwan. Blade is a hair longer, like a millimeter longer than the Umi blade. So that's a pretty common knife. Everyone has Mazwans, right? No, hell no. No, hardly anyone has them because they're friggin' expensive as shit. And if my best buddy hadn't gave me one, I sure as fuck wouldn't have one because they're too damn expensive. I'm into this kind of shit, not 10 times more on the Mazwan over there. So I like this guy, man. I like it a lot. It just has that real typical Twosun pivot. That's fine, though. Pocket clip looks great. Ties in really well. I love this little step pattern they got going on there. Everything feels super solid. Nice beefy blade. Is it sharp? Will it cut something? Let's find out. It feels pretty sharp. Feels like it's maybe got a little hiccup, but other than that, yeah, she's sharp. Yeah, I wouldn't want to accidentally grab the wrong end of it. That is for sure. We'll just leave that piece right there. Just laughing at me. That is a nice shake shutty. I feel like it's probably going to get a little more drop shutty too over time. It's really nice action. Really good feel. Really good cutting feel if you want to get in there and really cut something. Beautiful carbon fiber. Just really, really nice. This is one of the better Twosuns, in my opinion, that I've seen as far as their fit and finish. You know, how they've executed the thing. You know, I would like it better if it had another opening method. So that's a design element, not a fit finish build element. Boy, the jimping on that, you almost look at that flipper tab and think you're going to slip off of that thing because it's a funky angle and it's kind of down low. That's why it's kind of weak. It's down low. It's below that point, the center of the this thing, whatever this thing is called right here, this pivot thingy. Oh, the pivot. It's it's below the center of the pivot. You want, you want this, the place you touch, to be a little above the pivot at that would be the best thing. At least even with the pivot would be fine, but you don't want it below. You lose too much leverage, something like that. It's like the flipper tab disappears too quickly. It's gone. Boom, it's in the handle. I can't flip it anymore. That's it. That's all I get from there to there. Right? Let's see. Let's pick up another knife and see what the difference would be. Okay, so here's a big giant flipper tab that is just about parallel with the middle of the pivot. This one's a little smaller and it's below the pivot. So let's see. How far do I get to push the blade out before I can't push it anymore? That's it. Okay, so we'll set this one here. And we'll do the same thing with this one. So as you can see, this one is out a little further. So it comes out a little further. So in other words, you're able to put more energy into it, however you want to say it. Let's see, here's a, what is this? A Max Ace Halictus. Let's try this one. So the Halictus, quite a bit further than that one. You'd be down here if it was the same, but it was up like there. So you just get more oomph in your flip when you have it like that. Let's try this guy. This guy is a, what in the heck is this thing called? I don't know, man. Some knife. And this thing's got a big old flipper tab, and it's down below the pivot a hair, but I think it's going to be way out there by the time you let go of it. Yep, look at that. It would be way in like that if it was the same. So, I think that's the problem. If it is a problem. Is it a problem? Here's a real cheapo one, and it has its pivot, or have its flipper tab above the pivot a little bit and nice and long. So I think you're going to get pretty strong from that guy. Yep, same deal. A lot of them are about the same. This one's just really kind of low. So it's not quite getting that force that the other ones get. But I think it's good enough. If it was much lower, if it was a little bit lower even more, it would be almost useless. It's just a slow flip. Like if I really try hard, I can make it fast. There we go. But I don't want to have to try that hard, you know. They could have hit those edges a little bit right there. Tiny bit sharp. Not bad though, really. Yeah, a little bit sharp on that edge. Is that a big deal? Shouldn't be. I mean, it's not going to cut you. I'm going to press as hard as I can on it. Nah, it's not going to cut you. Just not sharp enough. Man, that is a really nice knife. What is it? It is a Twosun TS191, I think. Let's see, we'll get a nice close-up of it, and then you can see it. So, in D2, and beautiful titanium and carbon fiber. I think if you could get it for the price I got it for, like 45 bucks, it's a crazy good deal, and that's a beautiful knife. Good job, Twosun. Have a nice day. And Happy New Year!